The Quest of Desolation, Chapter 12 and a half, Ceremonious Searching. Exhausted from a long night at the Baldridge Manor, our party narrowly slips out undetected and into the night, making their way and return to Lumbertown. The following morning, Nix, battered by a new wave of emotions, realizes that he'd rather do this now before something else terrible happens to him. And he proposes and marries Alincia Raydove, who is overjoyed to follow through with that step. The party came together to prepare an on-the-spot wedding at the base of the Lumbertown clock tower, in a tender moment of love, showing that, despite differences and struggles that they all may share, they are truly one big happy family. Our newlyweds, and the rest of the glorious bastards, and the two princesses from Papillasu, head off into the deep forest in search of Kuelias's armament of creation. Along the road, Ephraim and Flint have the much-awaited deep conversation about their relationship as brothers, that they have been waiting to have since they escaped hell. The party also questions Uragar and his new, strange devilish powers and his new devilish form, but even he is unable to reveal any such information about this. Long travel finally leads the party to arrive at the great tree of Ailey, better known as the Tree of Life. The serenity and peace found in this consecrated place, deep in the forest, is home to a massive tree that stands miles tall over the dense pines and oaks that surround it. They enter the tree with its large roots that wind and curve into a dense foundation for a tree that must be at least 100,000 years old, maybe even surviving the Centrum Wars itself. But Kuelias, stepping into a large open chamber with a beautiful lake of crystalline clear water, dripping and falling from inside the tree, piercing rays of sunshine break through small slivers in the barks. But here, Kuelias is elevated away from the group on a large leaf and vine that lifts him up and up and up into the trunk of the tree. He comes face to face with Mila, the goddess of nature, in the very heart of the tree of Ailey itself. She asks him questions. She asks him to define who he is, to answer what he seeks, and to answer why he alone is worthy for an armament of creation. But Kuelias's pure heart and desire to reconcile his past mistakes and do good in the now and the future show the deity that he is truly deserving of a bow, Elysium. There, Mila transports the party to their next locations, separating them along the way, but knowing full well that they all have their own goals they need to accomplish. Trixie, first, is transported to Belterist to uncover more information about the Undershadows, and finally learns the names of the 4 leaders of a sinister organization: Mr. C, Liston Goldbelt, Counselor Jacob Grimfang, and Cedric Baldridge. She learns that massive powerhouses are working in play, all working towards some unified and equally evil goal. But if only they knew what it was. Even more shocking is the little information about this person under the guise of simply him. A person that each of these 4 individuals of the Undershadows seems to be working under, some grand puppet master pulling all the strings. But the true task of the Undershadows, their mission, and their puppet master remain at large. A mystery to be solved later. For Atlasia and Rayudrum, they are transported to Legertop Island, where Atlasia searches for her armament of creation, which is allegedly a scale made of solid platinum. Her and Rayudrum both search for this scale, and finally are able to spot it atop the large statue of the Platinum Dragon, about 40 or 50 feet up from the ground. Thanks to Joe, Atlassia's magical flying carpet, Atlassia is able to drift up and closer examine this scale. Each of these scales in this incredibly detailed and made statue seem perfectly affixed to the body, as if an excellent and pristine replica of the Platinum Dragon. Each scale made of pure platinum in its own right, but one scale seems partially dislodged and somewhat loose. And, with a gentle tug, the scale is now in Atlassia's hands. She now holds her own Armament of Creation, the Platinum Guard. Atlassia descends from the statue, and prepares to meet Rheodrum at the top of the temple, so that they may use Rheodrum's Lightway Connection spell to transport them back to Nexus City at a place called Nexus Point, the lighthouse temple in Nexus City that they were at previously after coming back from Solaris. But, before Atlassia ventures off to meet Rheodrum, she takes one last look in reverence at the statue of her deity, Bahamut, just as she briefly notices that the statue winks at her. She smiles, and begins to walk away and up the steps to meet Rheodrum. But she pauses, as a large gust of wind, sourcing from a single wing flap near the statue, she turns back to look at the quote-unquote statue of it as it takes off from its resting place. In truth, no statue at all, as the real one fades back into existence as the true Platinum Dragon flew off into the sunset. Finally, our party all reconvenes in Nexus City. Ephraim is given a new task by Lycree, one that does not involve him going to space with the rest of the group. But Ephraim promises that he'll see them again. The princesses, Lyra and Hyrelia, head back on the train from Nexus City to Prometheus City, with plenty of stories to tell and a likely upset father that they'll need to explain themselves to. The rest of the Glorious Bastards gather to meet Dr. Urag at his office. There, Yamina Eastwood joins the Glorious Bastards, and Alencia Raydoves, as Dr. Urag showcases the massive boat-like spaceship that they will set sail towards the Astral Sea on the next voyage of their journey. And as Dr. Urag explains how the ship functions, Yamina and Flint slip off so that Yamina can show him her favorite part of the ship, the helm. Flint takes a sit at such a place and attunes to it before anyone else has the chance, now technically making him the pilot and captain of the Spelljammer, which is the name of the spaceship. And finally, our party is able to blast off as they count down and set sail for space as they fly off into the dusk light of Anaris. More mysteries and more adventures on the horizon.